Welcome, dear viewers, to a new and special episode of Dialogue Horizon. This episode is fully dedicated to the meetings which will take place tomorrow of IGAD foreign affairs ministers at a timely selection, and the venue itself, being in Khartoum as a venue, is also, it has its importance, because maybe the viewers, if they know that the IGAD, one of the roles of IGAD is also to broker deals in conflicts. Now IGAD is playing a very important role in the tripartite mechanism, because IGAD, as everybody, some people, they don't know, IGAD started as IGAD as intergovernmental authority for drought and desertification. This was in 1986. In 1996 also, this was the initial was in Djibouti. In 1996 in Nairobi, the role of IGAD was a little bit changed, and even the name, although bearing the same initials, it is now called IGAD. It is the International Intergovernmental Authority on Development. As everybody knows, development without peace and security cannot be achieved. So that's why part of the role of the IGAD is to play certain roles when conflicts arise between member countries. That's why we are very happy to host in this episode our friend, our Professor Manzoor, Abdullah Manzoor of University of Khartoum, and he's also a contributor in different international and regional organizations on the same issues of peace and brokering peace, and he is right in the middle of this, the role of IGAD. Welcome, Professor Manzoor, Abdullah Manzoor, to this special episode of Dialogue Horizon.
Thank you very much, Omar.
Okay, Professor, as I introduced, now today the technical committees they convene meetings in preparation for the Ministers of Foreign Affairs, which will take place tomorrow. Just can give the viewer a brief idea about IGAD, the formation of IGAD, the membership of IGAD, and
Yes, as you rightly indicated, IGAD with double D started in 1986 in response to the widespread desertification that hit the region.
Yes. So
the very first and basic function of IGAD at the time was to respond to desertification,
and drought,
environmental degradation, drought, and the economic hardship that came as a result of that crisis. And when it started, it comprised 7 countries: Djibouti, Ethiopia, Sudan, Uganda, Kenya, and Somalia. This is 1986. Yes. In 1983, another country was added, which was Eritrea.
Which is?
Eritrea.
Eritrea, okay. After being an independent state.
Exactly. And of course, later on, it was transformed into the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. And South Sudan was the newest member state to join the IGAD.
So now it's 8.
It's 8 countries.
Okay.
Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, Djibouti, Somalia, and Uganda. Okay. And the secretariat is in Djibouti. That is where the headquarters is. And IGAD has regional offices in the member state countries. And actually, in September this year, a regional office was opened in Khartoum. It comprises health and other matters, and the executive secretary, Dr. Wargana Gabio, was here to inaugurate the opening of the regional office. I think this is a very important development for Sudan, because before this, Sudan did not host any regional office for the IGAD.
So before this, so now countries are 8, headquartered in Djibouti.
Yeah.
And
there are a number of regional offices.
Number of regional, one of which in Sudan, was opened. Okay, that's a very good introduction to the viewers about this, about IGAD. In its new role, actually, as it's transformed.
Yeah, of course, the role has been transformed from just addressing the problem of drought and environmental degradation.
But now on development.
And development, security, and food security in particular, and peace and security.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now for almost 3 years absence, and Sudan not hosting the meetings for many reasons, started by the corona, started by the problems of which cohered in Sudan until now, the prevailing situation. So that's why I said it is timely. The convening of this meeting is very timely, and the selection of the venue, which is Sudan, is also timely because we need already IGAD is right in the middle of the tripartite mechanism, which is now trying to broker a settlement between the military and civilian component to break the impasse. Okay. Now Sudan, definitely, I'm saying Sudan will try to make use of this. Sudan has a role, two things presented in the Arab League last month, a proposal for trying to bridge the gap of the food security.
Right.
And Sudan has projects and has the potential for helping in bridging this gap. Can you tell us about this?
Well, yes, I firstly agree with you that this is a very important event. It's a timely event, not the least of the fact that Sudan is actually the chair of IGAD at the present time.
Okay.
The military coup meant that Sudan's membership was suspended in the EU, but it continued to be an active member in the IGAD. It continued to be the chair of the IGAD, and I think it only makes sense that this meeting is held in Khartoum, because the chair country organizes this kind of meetings. And I think it's also important to have such a meeting in light of the fact that IGAD is part of the trilateral mechanism that is trying to find a way out of this stalemate in the transition, that IGAD has a regional office here, and that IGAD has a liaison office in addition to the regional office, which was actually here for a number of years. So, of course, one of the issues that the meeting might address is a question of food security, and this is one of the key and critical issues in the IGAD.
Yes.
Food security, peace and security, and integration within the region. These are actually the key issues that the IGAD is dealing with and trying to achieve. IGAD is trying to achieve food security in the region. IGAD is trying to integrate the region. IGAD tries to address the issue of peace and security.
Peace and security.
Peace and security. And as a matter of fact, I think the IGAD has already prepared a very nice document years back about how to integrate the region, starting by having free movement for people and livestock within the region. I'm not sure how far they went into that, but this is actually one of the key issues that needs to be achieved. Now, let me add that in the continent, there are a number of regional communities. We have ECOWAS in West Africa, we have SADC in South Africa, and we have another community that deals with Central Africa, and then we have the IGAD. These are the 4 RECs in the continent. The ECOWAS is one of the very active RECs. They sorted out a lot of things, and there is a sort of free movement within the ECOWAS region. People don't need visas. This is also the case, I think, with SADC. I think it's only the IGAD that is yet to have done this. But I think they are in the process of doing this, and I hope that this is one of the issues that they will address during the meeting in Khartoum.
Maybe the sporadic upheavals in the region. This is almost the Horn of Africa, and a lot of problems occur. Maybe
Of course, it goes without saying that the IGAD region is one of the very hot regions in the continent. It has a lot of problems. There are wars in South Sudan, in Sudan, in Ethiopia. There are issues among the different states. There are problems between Ethiopia and Sudan. There are problems between Eritrea and Djibouti. And these kind of problems, whether we like it or not, negatively affect the performance of the IGAD. Because IGAD is made up of member states. If these member states have problems among themselves, then this is definitely going to affect negatively how IGAD, as an organization representing these states, address some of these issues. It would be quite awkward for the IGAD to discuss the problem of Sudan, while Sudan is chairing the IGAD. You see my point. So, but still, this doesn't mean that these states or these countries should not address other matters that they can achieve. Like, for instance, I really don't see any reason why these countries don't discuss issues related to integration, issues related to easing movements of people, like what's happening in the ECOWAS region.
Freedom of movement.
Exactly.
Trade, people.
Yes.
Livestock, everything.
Absolutely. And within the IGAD region, there are two big countries, Ethiopia and Sudan. And I think whatever happens between these two countries affects the rest of the region. These are very big countries. Actually, their population combined is more than half of the whole IGAD region population.
Yes.
And given this, I think if these two countries enjoy good relationships, I think it will reflect positively in the region. And actually, this, to my mind, is a very first step towards regional integration.
Okay.
Yeah.
But also, Sudan will prepare in these meetings Sudan's schemes for agricultural and livestock and food security, actually, as presented in the Arab League. But at this time, do you think is it good that, or can it work at this time in Sudan? But in the current unstable political system.
Well, let us look at it this way. Okay. These kind of projects will reflect positively not only in the relationship among the states, but even within the states, within the country itself. And one of the good things is that, at least for now, the tensions between Ethiopia and Sudan are somehow dissipated. They are not as bad as they are. And we recall that Burhan met with Abiy Ahmed in Nairobi, and recently in Bahar Dar in the Tana Forum. It seems that things are getting better between Ethiopia and Sudan, and I do hope that this continues. And I don't see any contradiction between Sudan trying to have investment from the Arab countries in the agricultural sector, and also attracting investment from within the region itself, from the IGAD. You see? Because we have resources, we have land that is enough to produce cereals and all that is needed within the region. I think in the whole of the IGAD region, Sudan is the best suited to have projects of food security. There's no question about this. So, and given this comparative advantage, it only makes sense that in this meeting, they should be contemplating or discussing this kind of possibilities.
So it is time.
It's timely.
It's timely.
Sure.
That they presented in this meeting, because meetings, you don't guarantee that meetings come to Khartoum frequently. And also the chairmanship of the IGAD now is in Sudan. So it's the best time to present the projects of Sudan, or at least to show the members of IGAD the potential of Sudan agriculture and livestock
True.
Everybody knows that Sudan can play an important role not only in IGAD, only maybe in the continent.
That's right. That's true. No
Okay,
question about
okay, Professor. Let us move to another issue which is also related to IGAD. Last week, General Ibrahim Jabir, member of the Supreme Council, paid visits to almost all countries of IGAD, and people they think that it was successful, and some Kenyan, papers, newspapers, they commended the efforts of Ibrahim Jabir on this tour. So mainly they say that maybe one of the reasons for the visits is to try to put some ideas of Sudan about the role of IGAD itself, not changing it completely, but implementing it, or anyhow it was a tour which people maybe they want to know to what extent it will be useful to Sudan.
Well, I don't have details about Jabir's visit, but I followed it. You're right. He was in Djibouti, he was in Ethiopia, he was in Kenya, and I suspect that his visit is related to the meeting that's going to take place tomorrow. Probably he went and he was sent by General Burhan with messages to the leaders of these countries, maybe about the coming meeting or maybe about the development in the country with regard to the potential political settlement that would put the transition in the right track. I think it would be important for the leadership in Sudan to tell the countries in the region, by virtue of the fact that Sudan, as we said, is the chairperson of IGAD as we speak, about development in the country and also about the prospects of having an IGAD meeting in Khartoum.
Okay.
So maybe he was there with messages, maybe he was there with invitations or preparation for the meeting that's going to take place tomorrow.
Also, maybe one of the issues which will be discussed in the meetings, the suspension of membership of Sudan in AU, African Union. Some people they say that as if the African Union is having double standards, because the same thing happened in Chad and the same thing happened in Ivory Coast maybe, and before that in Egypt. Egypt was reinstated speedily after the reasons for suspension removed. But why Sudan suspension is still protracting? And maybe they'll try to ask for the intervention of IGAD to put some pressure on the African Union to reinstate and Sudan membership.
Well, I think the AU's charter is quite clear and obvious that any country in which a change of power takes place unconstitutionally, the country would be suspended. The membership would be suspended. In Chad, I think the situation is different because Idris Deby was killed and then his son
took over.
This is, technically speaking, cannot be categorized as a military coup. Exactly. But the point is that the AU's charter is very clear in this, and I think in Egypt, Egypt's membership was only restored after the Sisi was elected, regardless of what we say about the elections, but he was elected and then Egypt's membership was restored. In the case of Sudan, I think the current political process that's ongoing might lead to a civilian government, and I think immediately the African Union would restore the membership of the country. Maybe the visit of Ibrahim Jabir is also related to this. Probably he was trying to convince the IGAD members to use their connections so that the country's membership in the AU would be restored. But as far as the AU is concerned, this is very clear. They consider it as a military coup. They suspended the country's membership. And let's not forget the fact that in the Africa-US summit, Sudan was excluded because it's not part of the African Union. I think 4 countries were excluded from the US-Africa summit. That's going to take place, I think, early next month.
Next month.
Yeah.
So you don't think there is double standard?
No, I don't think there is. No,
because the charter is clear, the African
it's
Union
very clear.
is very clear.
Very clear.
And Sudan did not till now fulfill the requirement of being going back to full democratic system.
That's right.
So you don't think it is?
No, I don't see double standards here.
Different.
I don't.
Chad
is a different case.
And Egypt, different case.
Different case. Egypt was restored after Sisi won the election.
But you believe that immediately after the onset of formation of a government, democratic government, and reaching a settlement, immediately
it will be restored. It will be restored. This happened actually in August 2020. August 2019, when Hamdok was appointed as prime minister. The AU immediately restored the Sudan's membership. Yes.
So you think this matter of time,
it's a matter of time.
Is related to the.
It's related to the internal political processes, and if we have a political settlement, then our membership would be restored.
So now we got this is that. It is good that IGAD is part and parcel of the ongoing endeavors to reach a settlement between the military, and some rumors that spilled out that a little bit it's almost about to reach a settlement.
Right.
But IGAD is important partner.
Of course, IGAD is very important.
To what extent?
It plays a very critically important role. IGAD is a regional community. It is part of the African Union, and the Africans are having the slogan, African Solutions for African Problems. Now, if we accept this, then what IGAD is doing is critically important, and it might contribute positively to solve the political stalemate, and in this way, Sudan will go back to the AU.
And bearing in mind that IGAD is not only involved now in the current turmoil or upheaval, it was directly right in the middle of the Nivaja.
Of course.
The talks of Nivaja.
Of course.
IGAD was important
IGAD was
mechanism.
a key body in the comprehensive peace agreement. And now IGAD is also part and parcel of overseeing the implementation of the peace agreement in South Sudan. Although that agreement was basically brokered by Sudan in 2018, but IGAD is now overseeing the implementation. So IGAD is there, and actually this is part and parcel of its mandate, peace and security in the member states. So if there is a problem or a trouble in any of the member states, IGAD will be there. Actually, it is the first body that will be there
to intervene. But what's the relation between IGAD? Okay, does this have any contradiction or problem between the IGAD as a mechanism for peace and security and the Commission, the African Union Commission for Peace and Security?
No,
no.
There's no contradiction. Actually, I think they operate on terms of complementarity. Now, if there is anything in the IGAD region, the AU would first ask the IGAD
to
intervene. And then the AU will complement the effort that are done by the IGAD. So there are no contradictions, there is no competition, and actually they work together.
They work together, and under definitely the African Commission is fully aware of following the steps what IGAD is doing.
Of course.
Maybe they intervene later, maybe if there is a problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Did IGAD play any role in the 2020 Juba peace agreement?
IGAD was there, definitely, but the Juba peace agreement was basically brokered by the government of South Sudan. But IGAD was also there to support, definitely.
So the IGAD was there?
It was there. The IGAD was there, the EU was there, the UN was there, the Troika was there.
So all this, the same, similar to what happened in Nivaja.
That's true. That's true. So you have these regional bodies trying to play positive roles when it comes to peace and security, and actually this is, as I said, this is part of their mandate. That is actually the kind of thing they try to achieve: peace in the continent, security, food security, and ultimately integration within the region.
Also, IGAD it has a very important role one of the areas of the conflicts is the land conflict, and Sudan chaired a meeting about the conflicts, lands conflicts in Uganda, on behalf of IGAD. IGAD, because this is one of the areas, one of the problems which Sudan is affected. Like we have a conflict between Sudan and Ethiopia in the Fashag area. We have Abyei still between Sudan, South Sudan.
You have Halab.
And we have Halab. So we have 3 areas where we have land conflict.
And before secession, we have the Elmi Triangle with Kenya.
Before
now it became a trouble for South
but
Sudan.
now still we have 3 areas.
That's right.
Where we have conflict in the borders.
أهلا بكم إلى موجز الأنباء من تلفزيون السودان. وصل إلى الخرطوم وزراء الدول المشاركة في الدورة 48 للمجلس الوزاري للإيجاد، والتي تنعقد بفندق كرونثيا بالخرطوم في الفترة من 29 وحتى 30 من نوفمبر الجاري. وكشف وزير الخارجية المكلف علي الصادق عن وصول نائب رئيس مجلس الوزراء وزير خارجية إثيوبيا ووزير خارجية جيبوتي والسكرتير التنفيذي للإيجاد ووزير خارجية جنوب السودان. وأضاف الوزير أن الاجتماع للإيجاد سيتناول موضوعات تتعلق بتحقيق السلم والأمن في دول الإيجاد ومعالجة مسائل الجفاف والتصحر والتغيرات المناخية، إضافة إلى البحث في النزاعات داخل الدول وما بين الدول من أجل بسط الاستقرار والسلام في المنطقة الإيجاد. وأشار إلى أن السودان يسعى في رئاسته للإيجاد للتعاون مع كل الدول الأعضاء لتفعيل الخارطة الموضوعة وإجازتها، والتي تشمل عدة محاور في مجال الزراعة والموارد الطبيعية والبيئية للاستجابة للتغير المناخي وموجة الجفاف وشبح المجاعة في الإقليم وتحقيق الأمن الغذائي وإعادة توزيع بعض مراكز الإيجاد بصورة منصفة بين الدول الأعضاء بجانب التعاون الاقتصادي والتكامل الإقليمي والتنمية الاجتماعية. بحث وزير الخارجية المكلف السفير علي الصادق مع سفير دولة ليبيا بالخرطوم سبل تفعيل آليات التعاون المشترك من أجل تطوير التبادل التجاري عبر الحدود المشتركة وفتح المعابر الحدودية بين البلدين. وتطرق اللقاء إلى ترتيبات تبادل فتح القنصليات العامة بكل من الفاشر والكفرة. استمعت محكمة مدبرين انقلاب 30 من يونيو للعام 89 برئاسة قاضي المحكمة العليا مولانا حسين الجاك الشيخ إلى آخر شهود الاتهام اللواء معاش فضل الله برمناصر بحضور المتهمين وممثلي هيئة الدفاع وهيئة الاتهام. وقدم شاهد الاتهام بعد أداء اليمين أقواله أمام المحكمة باعتباره آخر شهود الاتهام. وقررت المحكمة قفل قضية الاتهام ورفع الجلسة إلى الثلاثاء القادم للاستماع فيها إلى المتهمين دون حضور هيئتي الدفاع والاتهام. شهد والي غرب دارفور المكلف خميس عبد الله بكر بمدينة الجنينة ختام الاجتماع التشاوري للجنة وقف إطلاق النار الدائم بغرب دارفور مع الجهات الفاعلة في المجتمع المدني. وقال الولي خميس عبد الله بكر إنه لم يحدث أي احتكاك بين الحركات المسلحة والقوات الأمنية منذ التوقيع على اتفاق جوبا لسلام السودان مع التزام الجانبين بالتعاون والتنسيق التام. وأبان الوالي أهمية دور القوة الخاصة لحماية المدنيين، مؤكدا أن تنفيذ اتفاق جوبا هو مسؤولية الحكومة المركزية. أكد وزير المعادن محمد بشير أبو نمو أهمية مواصلة الاستثمارات والصناعات والحركة الاقتصادية في البلاد دون أن تتأثر بأي إجراءات إدارية. جاء ذلك لدى ترأس اجتماع ضم الأمين العام لديوان الضرائب محمد علي مصطفى ووكيل وزارة المعادن مدير الشركة السودانية للموارد المعدنية مبارك أردول. وأكد الاجتماع ضرورة إرجاء إجراءات الضرائب دون المساس بالقانون ومنح الشركات والمصانع فرصة لدفع ما عليها من ضرائب والرسوم المنصوص عليها في القانون. وأبان وزير المعادن محمد بشير عبد الله أنه تم تشكيل لجان لاستمرارية الإنتاج لشركات الامتياز والإبقاء على الوضع الحالي إلى حين الوصول لاتفاق حول الإجراءات الضريبية التي أقرتها الدولة. أعلنت ولاية الخرطوم توفر غاز الطهي وغاز المخابز بكميات كافية بعد دخول مصفاة الخرطوم إلى الخدمة عقب اكتمال الصيانة الدورية. ووقف والي الخرطوم بالإنابة خلال لقائه مدير إدارة النقل العام والبترول الطيب خالد ومدير مباحث التموين. وقف على الجهود الجارية لانسياب توزيع الغاز عبر الوكلاء المعتمدين ولجان الأحياء إضافة لوصول الحصص المخصصة للمخابز. من جانبه نفى مدير إدارة النقل والبترول الخبر المتداول في مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي بخروج عدد من المخابز من الخدمة بسبب الغاز، مؤكدا استلام كل مخابز الولاية الحصص المقررة من الدقيق. نهاية الموجز، إلى اللقاء.
Do something on this issue like this?
Well, I think, let me just go back to a point I made earlier, which is the fact that there are problems between member states. And let us take the case of Ethiopia and Sudan. They had a serious dispute on Al-Fashaga area. Now the current executive secretary of the IGAD is Ethiopian. He is the former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia. Now imagine IGAD trying to do something on this. It's going to be quite difficult.
Very difficult. So
some of the problems require to be addressed by the member states themselves. Because if they involve IGAD in this, I don't think it's going to be effective.
It will not be effective.
It's not going to be effective because IGAD cannot intervene in the problem that is happening between Sudan and Ethiopia because these are two member states. And let's not forget the fact that as we speak, Sudan is the chair of IGAD. This is one. Two, the problem of Tigray, the war that happened in November 2020 inside Ethiopia. IGAD was unable to do anything because it involved one of the biggest countries in the IGAD. So the secretariat finds itself in a very awkward situation.
Yes.
You see?
Of course.
So all these kind of realities affect the capacity or the ability of the IGAD to address the issue of peace and security in particular. And that is why I am of the opinion that the IGAD should really start with the files over which it has a comparative advantage or capacity. Start with food security, start with the issues that they can achieve something on. And allow the member states that have issues among themselves to address those issues. You see? Because in the current situation, I don't think IGAD would be able to intervene in the conflict between Sudan and Ethiopia or the conflict within Ethiopia. We all saw that it was the AU that brokered the agreement between the TPLF and the Ethiopian government in South Africa.
Yeah.
The AU. The AU. And even the AU had a lot of problems and challenges to arrive at that deal because the TPLF looks at the AU as impartial, as siding with Ethiopia.
Yes.
And this is the kind of realities that affect the capacity and the ability of these regional institutions, including the African Union, to play a constructive role, especially when it comes to peace and security. The issues between the member states are so serious, so much so that such regional bodies will be ineffective in addressing them.
So as if you are saying, what if I understood you well, as if you are saying that IGAD should not play role or try to make to go in the conflict lands, because it will lead maybe to the weakening of IGAD itself, because the role of, as if you are saying that the role of the conflicts, the border conflicts between countries should be tackled by the African Union, the peace and community. I agree with you, because IGAD should concentrate on other things.
That is my
As
understanding.
you said, where it has leverage.
Exactly, precisely. That's the point. You know, you do things over which you have a competitive advantage and you have leverage. You know, other things that you might not be able to do, I don't think you should waste your resources and time on that. And I think, and that is why I was quite optimistic when the Burhan met with Abiy Ahmed in Nairobi and recently in Bahar Dar. And we start to see that things are changing a little bit. The tension is dissipating. It's becoming less serious as it used to be. And this creates opportunities for things to move forward. You see, now when it comes to the Fashaga area, we hear a lot of analysis and scenarios about the possibility of making this area a place of integration rather than one of a conflict. Of course, there are issues around that need to be addressed, but here the IGAD might intervene and might come with a proposal, you know, technical proposals. But I think with the highly politicized stuff, I don't think IGAD as a secretariat has the capacity to address those things. Yeah.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why IGAD refrained, did not touch the issue, the sensitive issue of the GERD, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam.
That's right.
IGAD totally did not play any role, because the conflict between,
the conflict involved two big member states.
Two big member states.
Yes, very influential.
Sudan and Ethiopia.
Yes, yeah.
And a third partner is also sharing the conflict, or maybe adding to the heat of the conflict.
True.
The Egyptians, because Egyptians, they are caring about their quota of water. They are afraid that the water will not be enough, or will. But my question is that IGAD did not intervene, did not put any effort on trying to broker a deal between the three countries.
It can't. Yeah, it's understandable, you know. That's why the EU and eventually the UN got involved, and it brought back the issue to the African Union again, and so forth. But IGAD, I don't think it would have been possible for IGAD to intervene anyway in as muddy and sticky and difficult issue as the one of the GERD. It can't.
So also the Sudan, the proposal of Sudan, the paper presented about the conflict of borders, which was discussed in Sudan, was the chairperson of this land borders conflict was in Uganda. So you think that although the paper they accepted the paper prepared by Sudan, but IGAD cannot go deep in implementing or doing anything?
Well, the thing is, these are technical aspects, and given the fact that Sudan has experience in these kind of things, and as a matter of fact, it has a lot of conflicts over land anyway, so that its experience could be shared with other member states. They can learn from it, and who knows, we might get out of this kind of a learning process or sharing of experiences with something positive that might positively impact on the kind of land disputes that the member states suffer from. Now, if we can contribute positively into that direction, I think this is something good. And it's advisable that IGAD actually goes along these directions.
And Sudan sharing its
Share
experience
experiences, yeah.
between members of, just in case if it, at any one time, if anything happens later, they can go back to the experience of Sudan.
Sure.
Sudan went all the way to the international court with the ABA and the
That's true.
ABA
The
issue. So Sudan has a lot of experience in borders,
It
border
has.
conflicts.
It has.
It's
It has.
Halaib, Fashaga, ABA. So it will be useful to. Okay, let us go to the issue. What you called is IGAD has to concentrate on areas where it has leverage and it has comparative advantage.
Yeah.
So one of the areas is the food security, scarce food security. When we talk about food security, we mean food, agriculture, and livestock, and
Absolutely.
and also the industry related to this thing. Yeah. So can IGAD play any role in, because these countries like Sudan, for example, Sudan, everybody knows that Sudan has a lot of huge resources,
Yeah.
but Sudan does not have money, so it needs investors. Can IGAD play any role in bringing investors?
Well, first of all, I think the IGAD should really go into the direction of integrating the region.
Integrating the region.
Now we don't have paved roads that connect the countries. I think Sudan and Ethiopia are somehow connected with asphalt roads. Mm-hmm. Ethiopia at one point was using Port Sudan to import things. I think and up to now they sometimes use it. Mm-hmm. There is no rail network, and this is something that should be seriously addressed. There are travel restrictions. Now Ethiopia is one of the countries that implemented the visa on arrival policy. Now if you are traveling from any country in the continent, you can get your visa at the airport. This is a very good step. But I think they should go even further by waiving visa. You just go. I remember in 1995, my first time to travel abroad was to Ethiopia. And at the time, I didn't need a visa. They just stamped my passport at the airport and they asked me to queue with the nationals. Mm. You see? Yeah. So this is something that's happening in the ECOWAS region. They don't have visas. Why don't we have this in IGAD? Because this would be the first step towards implementing projects of food security and others. In the Sudan, for example, we have huge resources, we have land, we have water. Ethiopia has probably the biggest livestock in the continent.
And power.
It has power.
Potential for power.
Absolutely. So you already have a lot of things that would contribute
can be integrated together.
Yes, yes, yes.
So we should concentrate on this and to play.
I think this is one of, to me at least, this is one of the very important and needed things. Work on the program of integration within the region, because the whole world is look at the European Union.
People now, are coming together.
Of course, and this is something that should happen here. If you have a single visa, then you can move freely within the and this is actually done for foreigners, you know, for us who are going to enter. But for people who are already within the region, you don't need anything. And I really fail to see why this is not happening in the IGAD region. What are these people scared of?
So they should now from.
I fail to understand. You see, you put in place immigration, regulations that would guard against any abuse of this system.
Yes.
The Gulf countries are now implementing this. The UAE now, you get your visa in less than 24 hours. Saudi Arabia is now going along the same direction. You get an electronic visa in 2 days. Why are we making all these troubles? Ethiopia is, as I said, it started with having visa on arrival, and a lot of other countries are actually Ethiopia, Rwanda, Ghana, Gambia, and many others. And I think we need in the IGAD region to follow the other regs in the region, in the continent, ECOWAS, SADC, and the others. And I think this is the first step. If you cannot allow your citizens to move freely, you cannot talk about any.
What about the four freedoms? It's one of it, the freedom of movement. First of all, at the first time, maybe they put some restrictions because
Yeah,
many people might
put a cap.
abuse it.
Yeah, okay.
But for freedom, not only movement of people, trade, ownership, freedom of ownership, freedom of work. These are
Of
the
course,
four.
all these things should come eventually, you know, because this is a package. But my
Package for integration.
of course, my concern is that the countries are having. I really fail to understand this mentality of, you know, of excluding others and of making it very difficult for people to move. It doesn't make sense. Now, now one of the very, you know, painful realities in the continent is that we give people who are coming from very far easy access,
Yeah.
and we don't allow our own people. Like if you are coming from the US or Europe, you get access to almost all the countries in the region. If you are coming from Sudan, they make your life hell to go to any member state country. Although it's now changing, but it's not in the fast manner that it should be. So I think there are certain things that need to be addressed.
It's very important.
Addressed, because you cannot talk about addressing the issue of food security while you are having issues between member states. There is no trust. The movement of people is restricted. You have at times active war between the members of the IGAD. This is unbecoming.
Yeah.
So all these issues need to be addressed, and then possibilities would be open for further integration and for achieving food security, which is one of the very key objectives of the IGAD.
So as if you are saying that the IGAD should concentrate on making the 7 or the 8 countries connected
Exactly.
by networks of roads.
Yes.
Now, for example, we have Ethiopia. Ethiopia is landlocked. They don't have an airport. Port Sudan is a very near airport. So sometimes they talk about railways between Ethiopia, and now Ethiopia uses Djibouti all the way. It's far, but Port Sudan can play. So I agree with you that the making people and trade easy access to people and trade and investors also.
Yeah, sure.
From the region.
That's true.
Not concentrate on people coming from outside very far.
That's true. That's true.
Because
you have a lot of resources. You have comparative advantages on a lot of things. Make use of that, you know. And I think there are a lot of issues that could be addressed internally between and among the member states, and this would ease a lot of things.
Yes.
Because if you can trust each other so much so that you allow your citizens to move at least with ease, then a lot of other things would come in place, because it would be your interest to have this kind of programs and projects.
So
further
it's
integration.
very important. Maybe if they concentrate only on Sudan the largest country, if they make a very effective and efficient network of roads by asking international companies or international financial bodies that to give recommendation when it comes from IGAD, to give recommendation to help in improving the infrastructure of Sudan, especially the rail.
Yeah, but these are all political decisions. These are not simply technical or economic decisions. These are political decisions.
Political.
Of course. You know, the decision to waive a visa for citizens of 2 countries is a political decision.
Yeah.
You know?
But to make roads. Now they are talking we heard that sometimes some people, they talked last week, that proposal for the rail way from Port Sudan to west, even to Chad.
Yeah, I heard about that.
You heard about that? There's a lot of talk about it, and but it was a decision.
Yeah, but it's still, you know, why not first make a railway that connects Sudan and Ethiopia, for example?
Yes.
You see? You start with something that is near, that's affordable.
And in the region.
Forget about Ethiopia. Let us just rehabilitate the railway that connects Sudan and South Sudan. We have a railway that goes up to Wow.
Yes.
I don't think it's functioning.
Not functioning, yes.
You see? This is really, it doesn't make any sense to get into something that would create a railway from Port Sudan to N'Djamena while you're unable to rehabilitate the one that connects Sudan and Wow.
Yes, yes.
It's absurd, you know? And this is how why I'm saying these are all political decisions, you know?
Political decisions.
Of course, they are political decisions. And sometimes these decisions are quite erroneous. They're not realistic. And I must say, sometimes they are silly. I don't think the rehabilitating and let us not forget the fact that for a country like South Sudan, they are talking about the fact that South Sudan imposed like 60 commodities from Sudan.
From Sudan. Yes.
They
More
import-
than 60 more, I know, more.
You see? And I don't want to make infrastructure that would help you to export these commodities to South Sudan. It doesn't make any sense.
This is really something strange.
Yeah.
So you already have the railway
It's there.
to Awil to
Wow.
even to Wow.
Yes, from Bunusa, Mujli,
And
then
also to the east, to Ethiopia, it's easy because we already have
until
a railway,
Gadarif.
Till Gadarif.
Yes.
So this is kind of situations, of kind of chances, opportunities, which should be utilized.
Lost opportunities, a lot of lost
It has
opportunities.
to be utilized that Sudan can benefit from other region of IGAD, other countries of IGAD can benefit from it, like Ethiopia, Eritrea. Sudan, border between Sudan and Eritrea, the roads are almost free because smuggling is flourishing between Sudan and Eritrea. So these countries are really connected.
Yeah.
They need some fine tuning and political resolve. They have to have politics plays the whole everything.
True.
Because
True. I think you know, despite all these seemingly tough conditions and situations and the tensions among the member states, I think still there is a big potential for the region to get into projects that would eventually lead to integration.
Yes.
And I think the member states have the capacity to do this. Now, my hope is that the meeting that's going to take place in Khartoum tomorrow or so should lay the foundation for these types of thinking, so that the IGAD will move forward in the manner other RECs are moving, like ECOWAS and SADC.
Okay, thank you. My last question is it's kind of a wrap up to what we were talking, that the main pillars of IGAD is the food security,
peace and security,
and integration.
Yeah. These are actually the critical and important issues and objectives IGAD would like to achieve.
So you think that IGAD should work? To what extent do you evaluate the success of IGAD?
Well, there is a big potential. I'm quite optimistic, and I see that there is a desire for the member states to move forward. And as I said, some countries already started to implement policies that would ease movement of people. And I think, given the resources in countries like Sudan, this is possible. It is possible. And I think IGAD eventually is going to achieve the integration within the member states.
Within the member. Okay, after this, we hope after this meeting they will come to improve, things will go the right direction. First of all, Sudan has to have a settlement.
Yeah.
A very immediate settlement. This will break ice and will break the impasse.
A political settlement will restore Sudan's membership in the AU. It will make the country more effective
and internationally
accepted, and then given the fact that we are chairing IGAD, this will give us more capacity to organize things in a better way.
In a better way, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Professor Manzoor, Abdullah Manzoor, for being with us in the last hour. We talked about the special episode on IGAD, and we almost covered all the role of IGAD, and we covered almost everything which is important. From this forum, we greet, warmly welcome the foreign ministers of IGAD for coming to Sudan, and we hope that meetings will be fruitful to IGAD and to Sudan. Thank you, dear viewers, for being with us, and bye. See you next week.